What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So this is where we at. Apparently, the St. Louis mayor has been, doing everything except for doing her damn job. So she's been out here doing a lot of traveling, having hot girl summers, doing her thing. She hasn't been in office a lot throughout her term. And this is something that needs to be brought to light because, listen, look, from what they're saying is as much traveling as she's doing, there's no way that she can govern her city if she's gone this much. So, her and, well, let's not even bring up Tiffany Henyard with her crazy ass. Anyway, all right, so we're going to dive off into this. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
Reporting shows St. Louis's mayor has been jet-setting throughout her term. Public records revealing the mayor took 64 trips in the last 3.5 years in office. The story broken by the St. Louis Business Journal, and reporter Jacob Kern is here joining us today to talk all about it. Jacob, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, yeah. We'll bring our viewers right up to speed, get right into some of the facts here. Take a look at this. You requested the mayor's travel reports and her work calendar. Those records show she had taken these 64 trips since taking office back in April of 2021. In total, she was away from St. Louis for 163 days. You do the math, you find out that's about 12% of her total time in office. Now let's look at some of the trips she went on. In 2021, a trip to Dallas, meeting with Southwest Airlines CEO. 2022 to Washington, D.C., the African American Mayors Association Conference. Also that year, going to Las Vegas to meet with the International Council of Shopping Centers. And then the next year in New York, the Urban League Summit. She also took trips to Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Mexico City. So, Jacob, in the last 3.5.
Okay, so what is the mayor of St. Louis needing to be in Puerto Rico for on the citizens' dime? She's in Puerto Rico on St. Louis dime. Now, this is not something that she paid for out of her pocket to go to. Hold on. Because we got to go back here. We got to hear the tail end of this. Puerto Rico and shit. Hold on.
The Urban League Summit. She also took trips to Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Mexico City.
Okay, so Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Mexico City. Now, definitely those three. Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Mexico City. What is the mayor of St. Louis needing to go to those places for on the citizens' dime? Now, I don't want to hear anything about maybe she's going there to gather information on how she could bring more business to the city and stuff like out of Puerto Rico, Montreal, and Mexico. When we already dealing with the immigration problem from Mexico, things like that, we're trying to get them to shut that shit down. So what is she doing in Mexico? Now, Dallas, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, New York. Okay, maybe you could kind of sit there and say, she's trying to, work with something and things like that, or maybe trying to gather other business that possibly could relocate to or branch out to St. Louis. But in these factors right here, I don't think this is what this is, because this is not what they're saying. They're saying she's just taking these fucking trips on the taxpayers' dimes. And there's nothing that, tangible that she's bringing back to the city of St. Louis.
So, Jacob, in the last 3.5 years, to the general public, this might seem like a lot of travel.
Yeah, and I think that for people who have had experience in the mayor's office, it seems like a lot of travel as well, because Lyda Krewson took a little more than 4 trips a year. Francis Slay, the top officials who were with him, they said it was even less. Freeman Bosley served in the 90s. He said he tried to leave St. Louis as infrequently as he could because the office, it really depends on doing the operational work of the city. And there are a lot of departments that depend on the mayor. One thing to remember is that unlike in Kansas City or some of our peer towns, we don't have a city manager. So the mayor is the operational chief of the government.
So a pretty big difference from administration to administration. Now, Mayor Tishaura Jones declined to do an interview with you, but she did take to social media defending the travel. Let's take a listen.
It's important to me that our city has a seat at the table on a national level when there are opportunities for things like federal funding My leadership positions in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, the African American Mayors Association, Mayors Against Illegal Guns, East-West Gateway, and the National League of Cities are instrumental in bringing resources to our city.
So she says,
Okay, so we saw what cities. Okay. I'll give her, from what she just stated on her social media page, for what she just said about the opportunities and things like that she was talking about. Okay, the Dallas, the excuse me, Dallas, New York, all the cities that are in our that are in America. That's one thing. Okay, I could okay, maybe you're going there for that, maybe, but you're talking about Montreal, Puerto Rico, and Mexico. What type of government assistance are you trying to get from Montreal, Puerto Rico, and Mexico for St. Louis? You're in Montreal, Puerto Rico, and Mexico on St. Louis's dime, and then you're talking about going there to for government assistance and all the government assistance from those three places. And you think our government is going to allow you to be assisted by them? But come on now.
As a lot of these trips are really taken through the lens of opportunity. What did the mayor's office tell you about why the trips were important to make?
They gave us a lengthy list of information, 6 pages, that included $1 billion in federal money that had come to the city of St. Louis. And there were several pots of money, including different solar grants. There was a couple of grants to nonprofits that they had been involved in that did appear new for the city of St. Louis. The problem is that also they cited grants that other administrations have gotten the exact same grant. So there was kind of a question of whether the money would be coming no matter the travel. They also cited the $500 million ARPA money that came to the city of St. Louis. The issue with that is that the formula that revealed how much St. Louis would get, it came under Mayor Krewson. It didn't come under Tishaura Jones.
Okay, interesting insight there. Also something interesting to note here, the mayor also did a bit of traveling when she was treasurer before she was even mayor, some of which we reported on. This is from a First Alert 4 Investigates piece back in 2017. Take a listen.
The streets of Paris, the White House, even the Vegas Strip. Just some of the many places City Treasurer Tishaura Jones has traveled in her first term. About 50 trips in total, all paid for in part or in full with public funds.
So you mean to tell me, okay, she was already treasurer in St. Louis, and then she got the mayorship. And she was doing all that. She was in Paris as the treasurer of St. Louis. What need? You're the treasurer of St. Louis. What do you need in Paris? Man. And I know y'all don't like to hold these people accountable, but listen, look, man, this is what it is here. It's no need for these type of people in those type of positions to be doing this much traveling. They just said when she was the treasurer, she traveled up to what? Hold on here.
The streets of Paris, the White House, even the Vegas Strip. Just some of the many places City Treasurer Tishaura Jones has traveled in her first term. About 50 trips.
50 trips in her first term when she was treasurer. Now she's the mayor. Come on, people. 50 as a treasurer, 50 trips on the taxpayers' dimes. Man, okay then. Y'all the ones keep voting these people in the office that keep taking y'all money out y'all cities and shit, and then y'all want to sit around here like, okay, all right.
In total, all paid for in part or in full with public funds.
And again, this was during her time as treasurer. And Jacob, there's one key difference from those trips to the ones she's most recently taken. Those ones were paid for with public funds. Most of her trips now as mayor don't involve public funds. So who exactly is paying for these ones?
There was one that was paid with city funds that are allocated to the mayor's office, but her campaign paid for some of this. There was also personal funds. And so the mayor can actually take a $30,000 contingency fund as their own income. So a lot of that was used, but also outside groups paid for a lot of these trips. So there was an accelerator in Chicago. There was an abortion rights PAC in Washington, D.C. And
Okay, so she moving around, not all the city funds. Okay, then, but she's still using city funds, like they said, though, too. She's still using partially city funds. Come on, people.
so there were outside groups doing it as well.
Okay, so with those outside groups, does that raise any questions about whether those organizations could be getting any sort of special treatment?
Well, I think it does. And, you know, there are rules for the city where they are supposed to put on forms who is paying for these trips. And they do that, but it isn't so easy to get them, okay? You have to go to the registrar's office. Then you have to file a sunshine request. Then you have to pay fees to get these records. So if somebody were just interested month by month in who is funding Tashara Jones's often multiple trips per month, you couldn't do it really in real time. It would take a news media that was going to follow through and be persistent. It's not easy.
Is that some of the digging you plan to continue doing?
Well, we've done it once. We could.
Okay, Jacob Kieran with.
Okay, so as you clearly hear that the only way you can get those records of her travel situation is by, you know, basically filing a few different documents, and also you have to pay for said documents. He didn't mention how much those documents cost to be paid for, but I guarantee you though, it's not going to be $5 or $10. So, you know, yeah, you're going to have to pay a lot of money to get hold to those documents. And that's the thing right there that we're talking about. This is wild right here. It should not be a mayor that's traveling this much, you know, to at all, period. You know, Jesus Christ, you're just the mayor of one city within a state. It makes no sense. But this is where we at right here. She had no business doing this stuff right here. I hope they figure out what's going on in St. Louis and put an end to that crap. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.